Hi, hello, and welcome back to another training chit chat. You've been getting a lot of these lately. It's because they're easy to record, and I have been a little bit busy, but not so busy that I can't make videos. But today, today we are going to talk about the latest game blog, which I feel like everyone and their mother have been talking about the latest game blog. But I want to talk about it because I'm excited, so I'm gonna do that. And you'll just have to cope with me. I'm not giving you a choice. I guess you could exit the video. Please don't. But you know, my YouTube channel, I can do what I want. Like within reason, of course. I want to talk about the latest game blog about Marchengast Castle, which was one of those things a couple years ago was like, yeah, we're never gonna. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I had something in my eye, so I had to fix that. Which is irrelevant because I had to like cover my face with my hand. I don't know why I say that. We're already so off topic. I'm very tired. I was competing yesterday, and I hadn't already recorded a video, and I was like, I'm gonna record on Monday, like tomorrow, which is now today, and then I slept until like 2 p.m., which is not normal. And kind of threw my entire day off, but now I'm finally recording this, and I'm gonna edit this, and then you're gonna see this tomorrow for me. But Marchengast Castle, it was one of those places that, like, when Golden Leaf updated many years ago now, I can't even remember when, but it was like with a light trail ride, which is a main story quest I haven't even done yet. So it's definitely like, it's like the newest would be like 2020, but I think it's like 2019, 2018 maybe. Like, that is old. Like, I don't want to say that's old, because then I'm old. And I'm not. I'm just 23, come on. I'm not old, I know that. But like, to look at this game is like, yeah, I've been playing since I was 13. It's about to be 10 years. I keep mentioning this, and I'm like, I don't know how or when or what to do. But Marchengast Castle, one of those like magical background, because I guess if you didn't play back then, which would make sense, it was a long time ago, but originally Golden Leaf, and I don't even know if this was originally, but at least back when I started playing, 2015, and it was like, I don't know, but yeah, 2015 I started playing, and when you unlocked I unlocked Golden Hills in spring 2016, and when I did, I don't even know where I'm going. I need to find Race. And then like you unlock the places where the the witch is, like her swamp. There was like a little road up to the side. There used to be, like there still is, and you get up to like the whole place where the Halloween trail ride is. That used to be like you couldn't access that from like the stable side. It was like a dead end that you walked up from Pie, like a marsh or swamp or whatever you call it. And there was a debris covering the road, like I think rocks and stuff, and you could see like just a turret and like a little like bridge that kind of was like broken that was up by the turret. And that was it. And like you had kind of had a quest, I think, with Pi, where you kind of just went up there. Maybe I'm just imagining this, but I feel like there was a quest. You went up there, and it was just like the glitter, and you went there, and it's like quest done. You went back, and had a conversation about how like, oh, maybe there's gonna be some thing there later or something. I don't know. And there were people who like glitched their way in there back in the day, and back then I did actually watch those types of videos. I don't anymore. I don't have an interest in it anymore, but I did when I was, like 13, 14, 15. And there wasn't really anything there, right? It just existed. And then we got that whole update, and then it became Marchengast Castle, and the way it looks now, and people have been like, oh, we want to go there. But it's one of those things like, yeah, it's been they're like, I don't like. I'm the type of person that, like, if something is teased, like something talk about, oh, this is the thing in background. For me, a lot of time I read that it's like, it's interesting, but they're telling us, unless they say like, oh, I don't know, but like, I never thought we were gonna be able to get to Marchengast Castle, and the fact that we do is kind of like surprising, because I always read it like, it's there as like the backdrop. We're never gonna get there, and people are wishing for it and like reading into a lot of things. There's just like, newsflash, game devs like me, even though I'm currently not working on a game, I studied game dev and I've been around a lot of game devs, both students and professionals alike, as well as, you know, teachers and you know, people who literally have like a doctorate, so not in video game but in IT, which is what you get if you study video game and you go as far as to get a doctorate, you have a doctorate in IT. One of my favorite teachers has a doctorate, and when I was in university, and one of my other favorite teachers was getting his doctorates while he was teaching us. But that's a little like side bit. But like, we are nerds. This should not come as a surprise to anyone. And I think it would, like, for me it's like, it should be a surprise, but I think it would surprise people how nerdy and goofy and unserious we can be with each other while we're working. And then it's like, okay, we're gonna have to like serious it down, but then like to keep like, because like we're happy, we want to bring stuff, creativity to life. That's why we are working with video games. We are creative people who love video games. This should not be a surprise. But I think, yeah, I think it's very easy, because I used to do these too when I was younger, before I learned game dev. I used to think of just like the company, and it was like this big, like, just a big company. It had no face. There were no people or no individuals. It was just a big company, and company bad. I definitely still stand by that. Big company bad. But at the end of the day, we are living in a system that, even though the big companies, like, there are still, you know, people within them. And while, you know, you can always say, I don't think Star Stable is a bad company. I also want to point that out. But while you can still stand by, like, yeah, company bad, it's also, like, not bad to think of the people in the company as people. Especially the people that you're going to be interacting with, or the people that are actually making what you're looking at. Because, you know, they are just people. I really like to clear my voice. I thought I've been awoke for long enough to not have morning voice, but apparently I still do. But back to like Marchengast. Like, I thought, like, whenever mentioned or stuff like that, it's kind of like a little Easter egg, right? It's like a game that is like, I want to put something a little fun in here that's like doesn't actually take any type of production time, just because like I'm a nerd and we're nerds and we're like nerding out about stuff like this. And sometimes, in some situations, and I'm talking about video games in general, it could be good if that was cut down upon, because sometimes like you think it's like, oh, it's this and this and this context, and then you don't realize that your majority of players won't have that context. So then they're gonna be like, then why are they doing this? This is just so weird. Now they're teasing something that they know people are gonna want. And then won't do anything about it. Is that so like rude to us as the players? So sometimes like you need someone to be the voice of reason to cut down on things like that. But I also don't think it's a bad thing to have those in, because like I think everyone has had one Easter egg they've seen somewhere and it's like, oh my god, that's like an Easter egg to this thing, or like, or am I going mad, is that an Easter egg? And it is, because they're also fun, so like, you know, there's a balance with everything. But Marchengast was one of those things I was like, yeah, we're never gonna see it. And now, like, earlier this year in the blog post I was like, we're gonna get Marchengast? When they teased that, I was like, yeah, I guess they've said it now. But like, yeah, like, and now they're talking more about it. And I would just want to start out like amazing concept art and art exploration. But once again, as someone who's been in game dev, I mentioned this in a previous video, I've worked on a game that was nominated for an award. We didn't win it, but we were nominated. So, I mean, I've been in, while that was a game I made with other students, like, we were working as a team to make this game dev. Trust me when I say, the concept art and the art exploration, and I'm saying this as a non-artist who just looked at what our amazing artists were doing, and also it's like, hey, could you maybe do this or that? The initial stages of the exploration and the concept art is always more detailed. And maybe you've seen this before. Like, you might have seen concept art for characters in shows or other video games or movies or whatever. There's so much concept art for so many stuff, or and so on, and they are always more detailed in the beginning usually, and then when you have more like things that you need to work a lot, like recreate a lot, characters you often have to draw or create, or places like in shows, but also in like in games, like things that like need to move. You need to cut down on a lot of the details, because when you have one image in 2D from one side that you know, the first time you draw it, you can add a lot of details, and then you might have to cut down on it to make it possible within production. So these are amazing sketches, and I'm so intrigued to see how they're gonna do this. But don't, when you see like all these sketches, don't expect it to be quite as detailed in game. Like, don't look at it like, oh, this is what we're gonna get, and then when we get in game it's not this detailed. Don't be upset. Like, I'm gonna tell you, like, this is, they literally say every time early castle sketch for first two. Or early castle exploration and early castle sketch. And that is by concept art, so it's concept art, right? It's gonna change. Concept art is, you know, just the concept, and then you make it plausible to make within your time frame, or what's gonna fit. Because that is what's, you know, what you need. You can't have all like, this is gonna end up being a game dev talk, which, you know, I wanted to talk about more about game dev. I wasn't even setting out to do this. I was like, I want to talk about Marchengast because I'm excited, but now I'm like, game dev things. When you're working in 3D, which Star Stable is, every 3D model is made up of something called polygons, and those are the shapes that like make up the 3D model. So for example, if you have a cube that is made up out of 6 faces, like 4, you've seen a cube, like a dice basically, or yeah, a cube, and it has, you know, a top, a bottom, and then 4 sides around it, right? And all of those sides, 6 of them, are faces that, and they are made up of stuff. But even like this horse, like, you can definitely tell in the older horses, like, you can see there's this rounded edge on the horse for the butt or the tail. You can see it's made up, you can see all these like flat edges to make it look round, because it isn't 100% round, because it would need like many more faces to end up. So like, they're made of a bunch of flat surfaces that are small enough to make it look round. Okay, we can look once again, like, it's kind of pointy, and this is not as noticeable in the newer horses, but they're still there, but they're smaller. If you go, I can't even remember what video it was, but I was riding one of the, was it my, no, it wasn't my shopping video. I don't know, I was riding one of the Hanoverians from Equestrian Festival 2025, the one with the grey tail. And I had the reshade preset on and was like going up the thing to observatory. And you could tell, due to the reshade preset, you could see the horse, kind of like the shape of the horse and the shading through the loading screen. And you could kind of tell that the horse's butt was made out of a bunch of different like rectangles, basically, and those are like the polygons. I'm not a 3D artist. I just took like one class where we sometimes made 3D art in high school. But I'm trying to explain this as best I can. Like, those are the polygons. And the more polygons something has, the more detailed it is, the more details it has, the more polygons. But also, like, the smoother it is, the more polygons. So, and also the more polygons, the more things for your computer to compute to be able to show it visually. Like, the more things your graphics card has to calculate for you to be able to see the visual on your screen. And if you don't have a graphics card, then that's for your CPU, who is also doing every other calculation needed for your computer to run. Like, that is the brain for your computer. And if like your computer or your laptop doesn't have a separate like graphics calculation, like a laptop won't have like a full-on graphics card, but it's gonna have graphics usually if it's unless it's like a very cheap one. And sometimes that's I'm looking for the word, but it's like, it's not internal, but that's the only word I can come up with, like graphics. And in a way that's like, there are cores in the CPU dedicated to calculating your graphics instead of having a separate graphics basically card as well in a laptop. But if you have a desktop, it's basically the same thing. So it's gonna be harder to run. So when you have a whole world with multiple items, you can't have too many polygons, or it's going to create lag or crashes, even on good computers. So when you're making a game, you need to like be like, okay, these are you don't only need to realize like your target demographic, you also need to realize what type, or it is target demographic. When you're talking about target demographic in video games, it's not just about what these people like. It's also about realizing what type of device these people play on. And how good is that device going to be? So when you're playing on, like, are these people PC gamers? Are these people mobile gamers? Are these people Switch gamers? Switch is the Nintendo Switch is a huge market for a lot of indie games, and not even indie games. And that can actually be problematic for video game companies, because Nintendo has a tendency to, in the words of a dev who had a guest lecture when I was in university, Nintendo makes overpriced potatoes that runs on 10-year-old tech. So, and while I don't think it's a bad thing that games have to work on older devices, that's important. It becomes a bit problematic in the cases sometimes of having to make your game that is not even that demanding run well on something like the Switch, because it is running on such old technology. It's a real hassle and a lot of work to get it to run on something like the Switch. Obviously we have the Switch 2 now. That was not a thing 2 years ago when I had this lecture. But in the words of the same lecturer, after the Switch, Nintendo's going to put out another overpriced potato. And I'm saying this as an owner of a Switch 1 and a DS and a Game Boy, and I loved playing on those when I was younger, and I still enjoy it. Like, that's my childhood, and it's even part of like my adult and teenage years. Dev is kind of like, you need to realize what platform your game needs to run on, and then you need to decide, like, look at how capable those devices are. And like in the cases of PCs, like, are these people who play on a super high-end, like super expensive gaming PC, or are these people who play on an old laptop? And I think Star Stable leans more towards old laptop. That's literally what I started playing Star Stable on 10 years ago. I was literally playing on my school laptop. It wasn't even old, but it was very bad laptops that we got for like schoolwork in school. We got to bring them home with us, and I installed Star Stable, and I played on that for like a year until the computer entirely broke. Like, it started, but it would like it take like, and uninstall Star Stable, by the way, it still would take like 8 hours to save a document. And that was to the cloud with good internet connection. It was not the internet connection, it was the computer who wouldn't save a empty Word document. And it said it was going to take 8.5 hours. Not a good computer. That's why I started playing Star Stable on. And then I had another laptop that wasn't bad, but it also wasn't meant for gaming. It was just I could play some games on it. And after that one, I bought a desktop PC that was also not meant for gaming until I, in university, bought my gaming laptop, and then I now have also built my gaming desktop. So that is like where I come from, and I feel like I know a lot of people who plays people also play Star Stable on their phones. So you need to look at like what type of device do people have, and then like what capabilities do we expect those to have, so that we make a game that can run on the type of unit that our players have. Otherwise, no one's gonna buy it, no one's gonna play it, we won't make any money. And I have a really long about like target demographic, but that's important. So, and obviously that's gonna get better and better over time. What type of device people has, because the really old ones won't be sold anymore, and people are gonna upgrade even if they won't, like, you know, go from like super bad laptop to supercomputer. That's usually not how it goes. But it's like, you know, Apple's gonna get old, they're gonna buy the like new version of that laptop. That's still gonna be better than the old one, obviously. So what I'm trying to get is at that you decide like how many polygons like your models are allowed to average based on their size, how many like polygons they're allowed to have, so that you don't have too many polygons in one area, and that the game will therefore be able to run smoothly on the devices that you expect your target demographic to own. And this is such a long tangent. But I mean, it's on brand for me. If you are still here, you are here for these things. And that's the thing. Like, so when you make a concept art, you can make it super detailed, but you're gonna have to lose a lot of those details in the end, because otherwise it wouldn't be able to run on the devices of your target demographic. And it isn't about making it run on the best like unit or device that people in your target demographic has. It's about, this is a target demographic, and you need to make it run, maybe not in the prettiest way, but still make it run in an acceptable manner on the worst device you expect them to have, that you still support. If you don't, well, then you're gonna lose a lot of players. It's more important that it runs, even if not the prettiest way, it runs on the worst device you support. So it isn't like, oh, they could have made it better, because like I don't have the best gaming PC in the world. I don't even have a great gaming PC, but I have a pretty good gaming PC. It's pretty new, it has pretty good components. You know, it's an average gaming PC. I could probably run it, but I know a lot of people who wouldn't, because they don't play Star Stable on a gaming computer. I know that, I don't know of, but I know that a lot of players are young people who are playing on either their phones or give me a moment. So sorry, someone knocked on my door, but I totally lost my train of thought. But that will play on their parents' PCs. That's how I tried to start out. I was gonna play on like my dad's laptop, and then I had a laptop in school actually, and I was like, oh wait, I can actually play on this. Otherwise, I would have, like, when I started playing games, which was like mostly Minecraft, or I started playing on Xbox, but when I started playing on PC, which was mostly Minecraft, I was playing on my dad's laptop at the time. So that's how a lot of people start out. So you need to be able to make something that, you know, can run on an average computer. That's what Star Stable needs. I'm gonna take a quick break. to see what the people who are knocking wanted to ask. I'll be right back. I am back. It was my brother who knocked on the door. They had brought pizza from town. If anyone else lives out on the countryside, you know, when people bring food from like the city, you kind of have to eat it immediately or it will get cold because, you know, it takes a while to transport. So I was like, I'm just gonna eat my pizza. It was very good. It was a Hawaii, aka I put pineapple on my pizza, and if you are offended by that, I'm so sorry. But also, you should never come to Sweden because like pineapple pizza is not bad. I know people who eat banana on their pizza. In fact, my mom when we made pizzas at home when I was little, she always put banana and curry. That's the thing, you can order like a pizza with banana, curry and chicken in Sweden, but she put banana and curry on pizza when I was little. And I had like, so for like my earliest memories of pizza, I thought pizza was horrible. I hated pizza because I thought pizza, because we only ever made with banana and curry at home, and I hated it because I hate cooked bananas. Like there are like desserts and stuff in Sweden where you like cook banana, like you put like chocolate in a banana and you put it on the grill, like as when you're like having a barbecue. Common dessert. I used to hate that too as a kid. I'm still not a big fan. I don't like when the banana gets mushy, basically. I hated that, so I used to think I hated pizza. And then I like ate pizza at a restaurant first time and I didn't have to have banana and curry on it, and I was like, actually this is nice. I just don't like banana and curry on a pizza. So yeah, fair to not like pineapple pizza, but if you think that's atrocious, never come to Sweden. You won't survive here. Super off topic, and I put my phone in the wrong place. I had the blog post up and I put it on the wrong end of the desk. But yeah, we were talking about polygon count and Marchengast castle. So yeah, super excited. It looks super cool. I'm very excited about this like forest thing they're talking about. I can't remember exactly what they called it. I'm trying to find it and not crash at the same time. Blighted forest, that's what they call it. I always say never record a video right after I eat, and now I ate in the middle of a recording. That wasn't a good idea. I'm gonna have to mute my mic so much because my voice is just not happy that I ate. But I'm happy that I ate because I'm very energized, and who doesn't love pizza? Especially when you're tired. Can't remember if I said, but I was off competing yesterday. I actually did say I was off competing yesterday. I'm very tired today. It went very well actually also at the competition, I might add. I competed in 4 classes. I ended up placing second in one and first in another. And then unplaced in 2 others. One of them was the one I felt like went the best, and I went unplaced, so I guess it went really good for a lot of other people. And then the other one I didn't place in was because I planned poorly and it didn't go well. Not my horse's fault, but we're not here to talk about me and my horse, or me and my pony competing. We're just talking about Marchengast Castle. I'm very excited because like it has obviously like what they're talking about, like what the story stuff, and we don't know anything about that. But I love the lost like art that's like a witch hut, and then like we have a creature, and I mean, I really hope, like, once again, we have all these sketches, and they're obviously, like, they're probably more detailed than the end product's gonna be. That's what the whole thing with about polygon count, like, that whole, how do you say, like, that whole, not side quest. I lost my entire English vocabulary over that pizza, clearly. Pizza. No, I'm not talking about pizza. I'm talking about whatever. But yeah, but I still like, obviously the general essence of what they're showing is probably like where the direction they're going, just that's probably more like detailed, and obviously other things are going to change as well. That's, you know, they won't be showing the final product to us because it's probably not done. Obviously this is going to be released in February, and that's a soft deadline, so they're like, we're hoping to release it by then. All right, we have a bazaar. What horses do we have? Oh, that's dangerous. Connemara, yeah. English thoroughbred and a Jorvik warmblood. Oh, yeah, that Dutch warmblood, that's dangerous. I have to get away from here now. I'm gonna end up spending money that I'm gonna need for Halloween. But very, you know, very interesting in like this darker vibe we don't really have. Maybe like Devil's Gap. I haven't gone there. I have accidentally seen like a little bit of like spoilers in the sense of like I've seen stuff I haven't seen yet, not people posting stuff that isn't released, because obviously Devil's Gap is released. But I haven't seen it in game. I'm so far away. For reference to where I am in the story, despite having played this game for almost 10 years, is I have just gone to Pandoria for the first time. And I have not unlocked where I can go there whenever I want. Because I've only been there once. So I'm way behind in the story. I did post a couple of months ago on my story that I was going to do story quests, and I was going to do like a live commentation on my stories, because I know this is like really old quests. And I got, I don't know, 10 minutes in. And I encountered a glitch, and I was like, yeah, no, I'm not doing this. Which is the problem for me. I wait so long that the quest gets bugged. Actually, can we check if the quest is still bugged? Yeah, it is. This quest, I am not supposed to have unlocked yet. And that's the one that creates a glitch, because it's a character in the quest I'm doing is in that quest too, and like he is in that location instead of being, and I should write a bug report on it, I know, but I haven't had the energy. But yeah, I'm just very excited about like the dark vibes. Like, it was gonna be great like for next year Halloween. Imagine that. And obviously like it has a ghast in the castle name, like, and obviously we're only gonna get the exterior, which like I'm not surprised about, and that's not even negative. Like, if anyone's like, why we're not gonna get the interior, it's like, how many places do we have interiors to? We have Silverglade Castle, we have the library, there's Fort Maria, which I haven't been to yet, and like, sure, like there's Frips as well. Okay, there are more places now, but it's like, we rarely have that. That should not be surprising to people. I haven't seen a lot of people being surprised about that, but like, it shouldn't be. This is a game you primarily spend time outside. That's not off-brand. But I'm just excited seeing all these places and these locations, and it's like, it's so pretty. And like, I like that we're getting like a more magical area. Like, some people know it's like, I want it to be realistic, but then I'm also like, this is literally a magic horse game. And I understand like you want places to look realistic, but we don't really have places. Like, we have Wildwoods, but it doesn't look that unrealistic. It just, the story is more unrealistic. And I'm interested to see if we get more magic in this area, and if the community is more accepting of that, because, well, I'm not the biggest fan of Wildwoods either. I have always had a feeling that there was more to the story there that we're probably never gonna get, just because of how little the community liked it. So obviously they're not gonna focus their efforts there, because like that's not what the community wants. But I'm one of those people that's like, I am dead serious in that I believe that the explorer, what's her name, like Heart something, we get her close. Like, she was like the last person who went into Redwood Point, and then she went into she was an explorer in like Redwood Point like way back in history. And then she entered Wildwoods and no one ever saw her again. And like no one has been into Wildwoods since then. Which I guess we learned is wrong because like druids maybe have been there since. I don't remember. And then there's a tree and has Pandoric stuff clearly going on that, you know, the mystic horses worship. And I've seen people like, I don't understand why pink is suddenly good, and it's like back then, and I was like, it's not good. It's just like sometimes characters will tell us things that aren't necessarily true or the full truth, not because they're lying or hiding things, but because they don't know what they don't know. And just because we haven't really had characters like that in the past in Star Stable, and this wasn't young players. These are players older than me. By a good bit. That I heard say this, among others. And there's also no shade then, but I was like sitting there, it's like, no, like we know a person went into here is missing. We know Pandoric, when like people are ripped into Pandoric, can leave marks, and these people clean it up. Like, I am dead serious. I believe that she, the explorer, she is like stuck in that tree, like in between Pandoria and Wildwoods, and we're never gonna see it because people were just so angry at talking horses, and I'm not happy at the talking horses either. If it's been a thing like, oh, you're a druid, that's why you can talk to us, you're special, like I can talk to my horses, I've been fine. But there was a whole thing that's like, anyone can hear them talking. That was like, no, this feels like breaking the immersion for me. Like, or it is breaking the immersion for me. But it also feels like it isn't like lining up with what you set up out this world to be. If it had been like, oh yeah, you're a soul rider or a druid, that's why you can talk to us, that's why we can talk to each other, that's, you know, but then like that just normal people could, that did break the immersion for me. That's when I was like, before that I was like, you know, I'm gonna wait and see, and then that happened. I was like, okay, I guess we're doing this now. But yeah, I think there was a lot of more interesting stuff there we could have seen that we're never gonna see, and that's like, it's fine. But it's also like, when I hear people complain because they're like, I don't understand it, it's like, yeah, we're never going to fully understand it because we're never gonna get more. But also it's like, yeah, since you don't want to get it, like, we shouldn't get more, because like then it's, you know, it's a whole thing, right? Also, like, I love the more like medieval style. So like, yeah, we're gonna get a medieval castle, and I don't agree that we should have the medieval stuff just as a hidden blog post, like they're not gonna move it. But like, maybe we could get new medieval stuff. Like this actual medieval stuff, like actual magic. Maybe like, we know witches are a thing. We know that not all witches are bad. We also know, at least in Sweden, if you're an older player and you bought, I can't remember if it, there used to be 2 magazines you could buy in stores. They would release every couple of months for maybe like 2 years. Back in the day, it was maybe like 2018. And one was Star Stable magazine and the other one was Jorvik Gazette. And I have all of them. I'm kind of trying to... wait, they're not in my bookcase anymore. I was trying to like look behind me at my bookcase. They're not in my bookcase anymore. They're actually in the cupboard next to me. Because I bought like storage stuff for specifically magazines. But then my cat tried to squish them, so I had to put them somewhere where it's harder for him to go. But he still gets them. That so off topic. But yeah, in one of them we got concept art for a witch called Marchengast, or Marzipan, I think her name was. And she is Mrs. Holdsworth's apprentice. And that was, you know, like, yeah, 2017 maybe, even 2018 definitely. I think it was 2018. This was after the comic book, which was 2017. And from what I know, she's not a character in the game yet. So, you know, we know there are more witches. We just like haven't really met a lot of good ones yet. We mostly just met Pi. I guess there's the, spoiler for a thing I haven't even I know there's a Vala witch. I don't know which side she's on, who she is, anything. I just know people have talked about her, and I try to avoid hearing people talk about her because I don't want to get spoilers. Do I want to do? Yeah, I can do archaeology. But I love like the more medieval Europe vibes of the places there. We have obviously historical sites in Jorvik. We have Fort Pinta, we have Fort Maria. Those are old, but like not medieval old. We also have Silverglade Castle. I don't know exactly how old that is. I'm not historical. I can like look at being like, it's these architecture types. And also, as someone who like there's a castle not super far from where I'm from, and that's not medieval. Or where I grew up, not where where I'm from. Like where I grew up, it's not where I grew up, but like I've been to the castle multiple times because it's very close, and entrance fees are not very expensive, and they host like a bunch of different events there. Like they have like Halloween walks through the dungeons, and they have like art exhibits and historical exhibits. I've actually never been to a Halloween thing. Maybe I should go this year, but I don't know people. But this castle, I think it's about 500 years old, and it's like it started off as a tower, and then like it's expanded, and it was like white at one point. Then in the 1800s, late 1800s, someone decided to scrape all the white like stuff off, and now it's just grey stone. So it probably looks a lot older now than it is because it's just the grey stone. Because it used to be polished white and decorated, and then someone was like, no, it needs to be old and historical, like just a little over 100 years ago. And now it's grey. Yeah, I'm excited to this like medieval, like it's not even medieval, like it's Tudor. That's like 500 years old actually. Yeah, it's a Tudor style of the buildings. I don't know why we love to call that medieval. Because Tudor is like 1500s, right? I just realized. Like, I guess that's the thing with like historic stuff, that it gets so like out of proportion from each other. And that like so many stuff gets labeled medieval, but we actually know very little about medieval times. And we know a lot, but it's a lot of this isn't actually very interesting, I've been told by like history teacher and stuff. It's just like so little actual interesting things were happening that's easier to just like use as a base to add your own interesting things without conflicting with like, real canons as an inspiration for like fantasy. That's what people like love medieval times, and then we realized that like it's not actually that interesting or something. I don't know. My high school history teacher said something like that. But I love that we're gonna get the site, because obviously that's not a style that we have anywhere else in the game. I guess like it's a little bit similar to Valedale, but Valedale is still not that style. But it's still like those white like polished walls. Enough, I guess, about Marchengast. It's time to talk about Halloween. Because I'm also very excited about Halloween. Halloween is... I love Equestrian Festival. I've been loving it more and more every year. Because it's so easy to train horses. But it's because it's so easy to train horses that I love Equestrian Festival. In fact, I entirely, at this point, despise the story quest. Like, I like the Sabine cutscene, but that's like it. I don't like how incompetent the Soul Riders come off. It was fun the first year, and then every year I played after, I'm like, what is even going on? And like, Lynn and Alex are not stupid. Why are they being portrayed as such? Because like, obviously a lot has changed in Starshine Legacy. Starshine Legacy. That is 20 years ago. And like, I don't think we should base anything off of that, because while it wasn't done in a harmful way, like the characters of Star Ocean Legacy are very clearly based off of stereotypes. I wrote not a paper. I wrote one of my exams on it was on games and gender. It was games analysis with a historical perspective, and I chose with one like we had to pick. It has to be historical, which like we picked an older game and a newer game, and then you also had to pick like one of 4 other topics, and I chose games and gender, and I did the first Star Ocean Legacy game, which is the Mystery of the Soul Riders from 2005, and then I chose the first Tomb Raider remake from 2018, I think. 2015. The last one was 2018. So that's a 10-year difference. And then I wrote about games with female protagonists. And obviously, Star Ocean Legacy is quite a niche game. I had to spend a big part of that paper to explain what that game was to, so that the person reading would understand like what I was referencing. So I did like a recap of what Star Ocean Legacy is. And very clearly the Soul Riders are based on stereotypes. Like Anne is the popular blonde mean girl who's into fashion and boys in Star Ocean Legacy. Like we literally meet her and she's like, hey, could you give my number to that boy? He clearly likes me. And then he's kind of like, actually, Lisa, I like you more. And then you meet Linda, and she's the like bookworm with the glasses, and she has a locker full of books that it's stuff. You obviously you play as Lisa, and Lisa is basically like she doesn't get the music interest until Star Academy, which is not about horses at all, but music. That's when she gets like a music interest, and Alex is she is the stereotypical like tomboy, and we know in Star Ocean Legacy that she is good with like engines and mechanics. She fixes like I think it's like the hay dryer or something she mentions in like one of the games she fixes for Herman. But I also think she mentions at some point that she knows how to like blow up an engine or something like that, or if it's like hijack an engine, I don't know. But I don't know if she's still, but in my mind Alex is still a person very capable. Like she isn't book smart, but she knows a lot of stuff that makes her useful. Like she knows her way around an engine, basically. Like I very much liked that about her growing up, and even if that isn't canon, in my mind she is still that person who she can take charge when needed. She isn't afraid, or she can be afraid, but she will stand her ground, and she knows a lot of stuff about like mechanics and like things that are more hands-on, and she has a lot of those skills. And I don't know if that's always portrayed anymore, but it's definitely not shown there, where she's kind of just like, both she and Linda just come off as incompetent, and in my mind, like, these are 2 of the smartest people we know. Like, Linda's book smart. No one's gonna doubt the fact that, like, Linda is a smart character. But Alex, in my mind, has always, since I was like 3 years old and played Star Ocean Legacy with my older sister, when it came out, like I have all 4 Star Ocean Legacy games, she is still capable. And not just like knows how to throw a punch, she also knows other stuff that makes her actually really smart. Stuff like I would never be able to take care of. Like I don't know how an engine works. I cannot repair an engine. Alex can. She has. So yeah. This is my tangent about a question festival. Halloween is my favorite festival. Or well, I love the winter event too. Less so nowadays. Halloween is much more special to me than the winter event has been the last few years. But I saw a lot of small interesting stuff, like an evolution, but like more story with Galloper, and I so much hope that they mean that we're getting a continuation to the quest like Linda and Galloper, because that is interesting, and I can see that happening, and like that is definitely Linda in her element, her seeking out this paranormal thing. And obviously there's a whole short story about it written by the amazing Helena Dahlgren in the Soul Rider books universe, with, you know, the Soul Rider trilogy and the second Soul Rider trilogy, and then also 3 short story collections. And in the first short story collection, which is 4 stories from Jorvik, Linda has a story about like encountering the Headless Horseman, and that is referenced in the quest, and that she then like goes to figure things out, and like we're investigating and we're learning, and it's just so cool. It's about because obviously we know John Jarl as like this good person who was a friend of the druids and he was an ally, and obviously like we can consult his ghost on things. But to learn more of the complexities, like he wasn't always a good person. He did sometimes bad things. It was very interesting. And I hope that's what they mean, that like his like expansion to his story, that like they mean like they're continuing with that. I would still be interested to see if they were making something brand new, but I would love to see them continue that, because it's already so cool with like the flashbacks and how we see all of that. And I mean, I'm obsessed. I want to know more. I also see like they have like this book for like the Cauldron, and I mean, I think I talked even just last video about like how the Cauldron is RNG, and I didn't talk about last video, but I talked about like last year's Star Stable RNG did not have a good track record. And for people who are not, you know, don't know all the gaming terms, which is fine. Even like 4 years ago I didn't. I still don't know all the terms. But yeah, RNG means that stuff is like random. And it's randomized. And Star Stable, I suspect Star Stable have in their RNG used, if not true randomness, then something a little bit too close to true randomness. Actually, I don't want to do this. To true randomness than what's recommended when you do game design. Which true randomness is that something is truly random. Like when you like cast a dice, something is usually truly random. It isn't though, because like there's stuff like weight distribution in the dice and stuff that might not make it truly random. But in video games, unless it's like a randomness between like 2 players or whatever, but when it's like random of like, are you gonna get something or not to a player, true randomness is usually bad, because true randomness means that in theory it's going to be like a 50-50 split of like when you get what you want and when you don't get what you want. And when that is the case, there have been studies on this, and we learned about it in school, players often feel that the game is unfair, that things are tipped against them, the odds are against them, even if it's literally 50-50. So when you use randomness for players, you need to tip the scale in the player's favor, so that what they want like is more like a 60-40 or even a 70-30 split. Like not specifically exactly those numbers, but like it needs to be tilted in favor of the player. ends up feeling unfair. And I suspect that hasn't always been the case with RNG stuff in Star Stable. Because obviously that might also require like more complex systems, so it's obviously easier to just use something that entirely truly randomizes stuff, but you know. So I wonder what this is going to be. Are we going to get like specific recipes for what exactly the drops we want are? Or is it just like, yeah, we're going to continue to be able to throw random stuff? Or are they going to remove that entirely and it's going to be like specific quests? I'm curious because I don't like how hard it can be to get the exact thing you want from the cauldron. But I like that I could go like once every 30 minutes, an hour, whatever it was, and just throw random ingredients in, and every once in a while I would get horseshoes for my horses. Because if you don't know, I don't think I've ever talked about this, so I don't know how you would know. But when I get max shillings, I buy either horseshoes or a halter for one of the horses in my stable. And so I want all my horses one day to have horseshoes, and all my Gen 3 horses to have a halter. That is the goal. When I get free horseshoes, that's helping me to achieve said goal, without having to spend my own money and effort. So I love that. But I mean, if I don't have to deal with the RNG of getting the pet, I'm also gonna be happy. So I'm intrigued to see what that means. To like make potions or whatever. Yeah, a new cauldron feature, that's literally what it says. And it seems like we're gonna get more story things, obviously with Galper, but I don't know. Obviously this was written by a narrative designer. So oh, and right, yeah, this hair. There's like a split hair in the picture. And I'm intrigued, like half white, half black. It's a model I already have. But, I mean, I just want more hair colors in general. So, like, a split dye? I mean, that's pretty cool. So I hope that's a new one, and not just like a dev perk that Ella Kårefalk here has. Because it's pretty cool. So, yeah, excited things awaits us. I will wait to see about Halloween. But yeah, I'm just so excited. I don't know if I have much more to say. I mean, I just arrived at the race, but I talked so much about Marchengast. I talked about game dev stuff. Like, I honestly probably talked more about game dev stuff than the rest of the things. But I'm just very happy to be sidetracked about game dev stuff. I mean, I've spent like 3 years of my life studying it, so very excited about that, obviously. I'm very excited about Halloween. It's my favorite event. I just said this, but I'm just so excited. I'm excited about Galloper. I want to know more and more and more about the band. And I'm intrigued to see what they do with the cauldron. I don't think they can do it worse than it currently is. So, I mean, I think most things... Yeah, I think most things would be an improvement. And I guess we're gonna have to wait until at least February to see what Marchengast holds for us. But yeah, I'm just very excited about all of this. And I hope you are too. Please let me know what your hopes and dreams for Marchengast is for Halloween. Are you feeling the spooky vibes yet? I mean, we're nearing the end of September. It's literally the last of September tomorrow, if I haven't miscalculated. Yeah, it is. So, you know, spooky month starts tomorrow for you guys. Excited! But yeah, let me know all the things in the comments. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please consider, you know, leaving a like and subscribing if you haven't already. I post videos on Tuesdays and Fridays. A lot of time it is Star Stable content, but every now and then you're gonna get to see something else, like for example The Sims. So yeah, thank you once again so much for watching, and I guess I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.